This is the Musketeer Coaches Show, and it's right here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Curtis Anderson, along with the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers. That's Luke Strand as we talk Musketeer hockey. Bob Rose North End Zone is the location for the show this week. We're at one of the two Bobs on a regular basis, so stop on by and enjoy. But we got some hockey to talk about for this hour. Get you set for Friday at home, and that would be Waterloo. Saturday at home would be the Lincoln Stars. I know for Friday they are doing that Chick-fil-A deal. $50 gets you 4 tickets, 4 hats. Correct me if I'm wrong. You get this down? Also, bag of Chuck-a-Pucks, 4 small popcorns, and 4 Chick-fil-A certificates. Look at that. I got that. It's a great deal.
It's a lot of chickens.
Yeah, there's a lot of chickens, and it's good deal for a family that can come in.
It is good. It's what a nice surprise to leave the with that Chick-fil-A. You have a little family time away from the rink as well.
Well, it's coming up. They're going to do that here and there on a regular basis. I think they have it online with all the different ones. But that's coming up on Friday. Saturday, remember, $2 beers, $2 sodas on a regular basis, and that'll be for the first time the Lincoln Stars in town. So we can get to those. We're going to start off with 2 games this last week. We'll start off with the Chicago Steel. That was Friday. 5-3 was the final score. You put an empty netter at the end. But I guess we'll go period by period. I mean, because there was a lot of differences that came up in this game. The first period looks like Chicago took it to you a little bit. Second period was the bounce back, which was a very positive thing for a young group.
Right. That first period, I think the shots were, would they have 3 power plays in the first period?
Yeah.
So that's going to skew something, but shots are shots. That's kind of what that is. But I didn't mind the pressure play as far as time on ice, is which side of this, the red it was pretty darn equal. And then, that second period, I thought we just took advantage of some momentum about what we were trying to do.
Well, yeah, it just seemed like, the objective, let's get pucks to the net.
Pucks in that and pucks behind them. We put ourselves in that spot too. It's just, we're that...
aggressive.
We're going to play that way. We just got to make the decision where the space is. Is it in front of the defender or behind the defender? And can we be consistent with our message and our habit about that puck? Because pretty soon, you're either spending time in the end zone or you're spending time back checking. Against the transition team in Chicago that's pretty lethally offensively set.
Well, they're not that lethal when they're in their defensive zone.
Exactly. Though. That's the number one way to defend a team of that nature, is to play in their end and make it a 200-foot away from your net game. And that second period was for sure, I thought, a good tone for the rest of the weekend.
Relentless, it just seemed like in that second period. And you got guys in this game as a whole. You saw a step up for Randy Hernandez, who got a couple of points. And I was surprised, because we've seen good things out of it, is Cole Koepke, his first 2 goals. I'm surprised that was his first 2 goals of the season, for that matter.
I think, to your point, his game has been good. If not great at times, and the points just haven't been there. But I think there, too, you see that for one is for sure a B-area goal that Kep scores, that he just shoots and gets a release off through some traffic. And then I think you find him getting to the net. And for Randy Hernandez, I thought it was a little bit of like, that's the player that was drafted here. And skate, got to the net, used his size. I thought that was a good push for him in really solidifying some things about what he did. And he made the game simple away from the puck, which made him pretty effective when he was at it.
Yeah, guys, and it's kind of funny how you see guys, and it's what's so awesome about this league is where you see them develop, where you see them take the next step. They might step back for a game or two, but you want them to keep going, because another guy who had a point on that Koepke goal is Fawcett, who's he's not very big, but boy, I like his determination, and boy, he can win draws.
He won his share of face-offs, which is an offensive player starting the puck with that on our tape is a huge factor for him. And then, I think as the game continued to go, especially Friday, you just found him around the puck, and he, to your point of being relentless and determined, he's got a way of sneaking up and stripping pucks back pretty quickly. It's not his shoulders necessarily gets it done because he is a smaller player, but he can skate. He thinks his way around there. and he really distributes the puck well. So, you get him out there with Kep and Sammy and see what we can put together there offensively.
So, some of those times, and we'll probably talk about it for both games this weekend, is you see that much when you guys are really working. It's awfully fun to watch, but the frustrating part is sometimes that puck doesn't go in the net, and then it turns around and might get into your net a minute later.
Yeah, I mean,
and not against your goalies as much as a deflection here or whatever the case is.
There's been some ugliness about how pucks have gone in against us, but we need to create that ourselves as well by being maybe the little uglier down in that trench of theirs. And those two net fronts for us were a big area of concern this weekend. Can we make some adjustments there? Playing better offense around their net, and then definitely playing better defensively around our own after some giveaways we had the week before. So those moments, I thought, let's show it up. It would be a fun group to play from the lead with. It'd be a fun group not to take the first penalty of the game with.
Yeah, I was looking at some stats, and you have not had a lead after the first period this year.
That would be what I'm talking about, Curtis.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Let me just bring up things that are that
I don't
are
want to
painful.
play Captain Obvious, but I got it. No, just kidding.
I'll get my hat out.
It is one of those. I think the more offensive the group, the more you get to influence the play with the lead, and currently that has not been the situation. And so an offensive group that has to chase it a bit. One, I think you're clamping down because you don't want to give something up to put the other team up by multiple, goals. But at the same time, then we've gone through some stretches of taking some penalties, and some of them I've got no problem with what's happening and how they're being taken. But at the same time, there's some that they just got to go away, and the timing of them needs to be basically cleaned up.
We'll talk about that here. Let's take our first break. Is that first penalty? Anyways, we'll be right back. Bob Rose, North End Zone, the Musketeer Coaches Show on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS.
Imagine.
Musketeer Coaches Show is right here on Fox Sports Radio 620 KMNS. Curtis Anderson with you, along with the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers and Luke Strand. We're at Bob Rose North End Zone for the show. Friday was a loss, and Saturday was a loss. Got a point, 3-2 shootout loss to the Tri-City Storm. And I know how you feel about positive reinforcement on a loss. It's still a loss.
It is. It was disappointing, obviously, at the end result is, but I thought both nights the process was good. We were going the right direction. I think if you close your eyes and watch this a week prior to this week was a huge step, and now there's the next step, though. You still got to put it past the goal line to really finish that whole process part.
A couple things I know you stressed going into Saturday was special teams, obviously, and getting someone in front of the net. You're turning Samuelson into that. He is a big body. I liked him in front of the net.
I do too. I mean, Sammy's a big body. He's got stick skill. He can gather up pucks. He can win battles around the crease. All things that are positive. And maybe a new position for him per se, because he's been a trigger. Usually, I think in the clubs he's played with before, meaning one of the guys on the sides are going to be
circle. Or
probably taking one timer or whatnot, or the top. So, but in doing so, it put a big body in front of the net with number 8 ripping the puck, which was a huge emphasis for us.
Well, and a reach that Sammy has. I mean, all those things that he can get after pucks.
Yeah, he can get after the puck, and at the same time, he can make those broken plays, skill plays in traffic because of his size and his natural ability with his stick.
You said finding number 8, of course, that's Sampo Ranta with his one-timer, and one of the things I know you stressed as well on that power play is pull that dang trigger. Don't catch, hold on, and just get pucks.
Yeah, it's been frustrating that way because I think, this is wrong of me to probably say, but when you're on the road, you don't feel like you have to play a really pretty game because you're on the road, and you're just digging in and finding different ways. I think at home, maybe you get the fancy pen out and you try to be a little bit fancier than you need to be. And I don't know if we've delivered enough pucks, at least to generate scoring chances off the power play yet.
Yeah,
Saturday I liked, but still more to come.
You saw a step.
Yeah, for sure you did.
The other side is the penalty kill. You did give up a power play goal, which I hate those power play goals with 3 seconds, 2 seconds, something left. Because I thought altogether, Tri-City has a very nice power play, and I thought you killed all of them very well.
Yeah. And
minus 3 seconds.
Minus 3 seconds, they went off 2 of our guys and bounced over Jerusic's shoulder. So, but I mean, that's what you get for shooting, right? I mean, hats off to Tri-City. They bomb away, get a partial block, get a redirection in net front, and there it goes bouncing over the shoulder.
Could have had a hero in Sampo for Friday. He had 2 goals and penalty shot and shootout shot, and it had a terrific ending. It's just that could have been, I guess, should say.
Yeah, I mean, Sampo's, I think, game-tying goal there, his little laser down the wall that beat the goalie low glove is impressive play. The penalty shot, I would put the puck back on his stick any day of the week for a penalty shot, and in the overtime, or rather the shootout, I would definitely put the puck back on his stick as well.
What'd you see out of some players, some positives that you look at in this one that kind of stuck out that we haven't talked about?
Yeah, you know what? I thought Leibold was as physical a presence and big hits.
Clean too.
Clean momentum driving hits. I thought it gave us a little shot in the arm. I thought that group of Bakic and Rowan and Hernandez did a nice job. I think up and down, our group contributed up and down the lineup, which was a big sight that way. And at the end of the night, I thought our D, we played simpler, quicker, cleaner. We played longer. I thought we got to play past their forecheck a few different areas by not overhandling it. And at the same time, we were able to keep some pucks alive in the offensive zone, where you look at that second period Saturday night, how many pucks we kept alive by, meaning the D going down and keeping a puck in on a wall or whatnot. It was pretty suffocating as far as I think the shots were crazy, 22-8 or something goofy on Saturday on the second. So great positives. The win column gives me a little more to cheer about, so I'm a happier guy on Tuesday if that's the case.
Yeah, how much ice time does Mantero get? He obviously earned it over the weekend. Him, Ferner, those kind of guys look like they've been in this league, don't they?
It's showing up, and I think the pressure's on. I think they know that they got to carry the load here until we get maybe our feet under us here a little bit further. Saturday putting Keegs on the power play allowed him, I think, maybe to, it just as that experience happened, like he commanded the puck a little bit more on the 5-on-5 play accordingly. So those guys have done a nice job lugging some minutes. Dorian Dawson's done a nice job as far as giving us a bigger, solid presence. You get Bond and Ehrenberg that move pucks consistently about what they do. So there's a mix and a match back there, and I think on the weekend our goaltending was winnable. Both of them probably want some pucks back, but that's how it goes. And at the same time, they gave us every opportunity to win games. Yeah,
and I got a lot of positives from some of the fans that saw the young Cross out there. Obviously, he's a 2000 born. That's pretty darn young. Ben Cross started on Friday for people that weren't there, and of course Jerusik. We kind of know what we're getting out of Jerusik is a solid veteran that knows what he's doing. But explain Cross and for people what he did.
Yeah, Cross, he was, he makes the game simple inside that crease. He isn't erratic. I mean, you're not probably going to have to see a diving, spectacular looking, because he doesn't usually put himself in those spots. He's already there. His movements are simple. It makes him effective at the end of the day. The game and the experience and the reads are still going to continue to grow. And like I said, he gave us every opportunity there on Friday night as well.
Well, I tell you what, it's a fun type of hockey for people to watch when you guys are playing. That intensity. Fans just get in the win column. They'll really like.
Yeah, no, I mean. It's like the Halloween costume tonight, right? Like, the wins are a big part of it, but at the same time, it is fast. It's been fast. It's been fun. They've stayed over pucks. We're getting better use of some areas in zone offensively. I thought we used the trapezoid really well, putting pucks behind the net, restarting offense from down there instead of up high, which it makes it a longer game for the other team to try to play against you. And the reward's there. We just got to figure out the little bit of the sacrifice that it takes to actually get the puck through and past the goalie and past the goal line is new to a lot of these guys. I mean, they've done it their whole careers.
Well, it is kind of funny, and this is, to be honest, I was charting Lincoln for Saturday already, and you have to have the least amount of experience of any team we've seen so far.
We do. We do.
I mean, by far. And that's nothing against the veterans are coming back. Mantero and Ferner. Yeah, but that's two guys on D. Ranta, half a year. Micah Miller, start and finish. Kepke, a third of a year when he went down.
Yeah.
Matt Miller is another young player. Bakich, there's not a lot of clock minutes out there.
No, there isn't.
Now, I'm not sitting against them, but they're still learning too.
They are, and I think they'll just learn a different role, right? I mean, they're now a bigger piece of the puzzle. They're more of a counted on person. They also drive the bus as far as the leadership. So there's a lot of nuance to everything there. But you got to be happy with some progress that way. And to your point of being youthful and young, we're getting plays like the pass that Fally makes to Ronta for the one-time goal on the power play. That's a big-time play. You get Ronta to your point of being out of the season for the majority of last year with an injury. He stepped in, and it's amazing. Like if the fans are there, you see all the black coats up at the top rack. He's probably the number one kid they're coming to watch, and he's done nothing but, I think, fulfilled that part of the bargain.
Kind of explain, and then we got to get a break in. And I don't know if anyone completely understands it, and I've tried to discuss this with coaches or you before, is the transition from younger leagues, your AAAs, your high schools. Kind of explain that transition to the USHL as compared to the USHL to NCAA.
Yeah, I mean, you see that transition from all of these guys have been the big fish in the pond, basically, where they came from. Easier. I think probably more predictable as far as like, you don't get to go out against the team's number one D or number one center. You might have a point night where you can go out and gather up, 4 to 6 points and do some things of that. Here, there's not that way in the league. And the league is almost a little bit hyper. The guys can skate. They're a little bit, at times, a little bit erratic as far as positioning. And then when you go to the NCAA, I think the speed is even higher, but way more controlled. So you probably don't feel that hyperness as far as that goes. And
by the time you go there, I think it's an easier step to the NCAA than compared to, say, Bantams or AAA or whatever to here.
It for sure is. I mean, the fact that they've experienced this league to go into the NCAA level is a major bonus. And you're not playing in the NCAA. You've got such a variety of age, too. I mean, you've got a 24-year-old to an 18-year-old. So you could have all over the map as far as that goes.
It is a calming effect at that NCAA, and it's strange to see after you watch some junior stuff because their passes are so crisp because they worked enough in juniors.
Yeah, I mean, you put through 60 games and however many practices and however many years they have to play in the league to get there, you're definitely going to get a more polished play at the NCAA level.
Let's take a break. We'll talk about Waterloo again, second time this year, and then we'll talk about the Lincoln Stars a little bit as well. Musketeer Coaches Show is right here at Bob Rose, North End Zone. Fox Sports Radio 620, Cam and S. On Fox Sports Radio 620, Cam and S. Curtis Anderson, along with the head coach of the Sioux City Musketeers and Luke Strand. Musketeer hockey coming up Friday, Waterloo. Saturday is Lincoln. Get your tickets. Enjoy home games while they last. Come January, you won't see us for about a month. That's the way it goes sometimes. But you can watch it on Hockey TV. If you can't make it, you can also, of course, 620kmns.com, iHeartRadio, all those different facets, and you will never miss a Musketeer hockey game.
And applause to you, Curtis, because I have a number of people tell me that they listen to the games.
Yes.
And always applaud you big time on your abilities. So,
well,
I don't know if they're lying to me to lie to you, but they're doing their job.
Maybe they're drinking during the game. I'm not sure. But no, I enjoy doing the games. But Chick-fil-A pack coming up on Friday as well. So it's a family 4-pack. It's a great deal for $50. So check that out as well if you want to bring the whole family out. The Waterloo Blackhawks had your number last time around, and why?
we had the gun in our hand and we shot ourselves in the foot repeatedly. How about that? That's the number one start. I think they've got a quality team for sure. I thought that
Copeland, Cates, Johnson up front.
Yeah, I mean, I just charted it today. They've got 8 regular 5-on-5 goals, which is a pretty big number at this time of the year. So they're doing their part that way, giving them a chance to at least get off the board. I think it's going to be a match a little bit about who we can put out there to play against them and a little bit in their face that way. But the last game, we just, matter of fact, we watched scoring chances today as a team. That was part of our meeting today of our Waterloo game, and they had 6 line rush against chances, which is, you won't give up 6 on a weekend sometimes, let alone a game. So, which they do a good job. They skate, they join the play, they're part of it. And sometimes they overextend themselves and give you something on the way back, and then you got to take advantage of it.
Well, they've given up 19 goals themselves. They've scored 17, given up 19. So people can take advantage of it. I just think they were the aggressors, and it seemed like you backed off a little bit.
That was a disappointing Friday night, and we've got something to give ourselves a little payback time here of ourselves.
You have that one on Friday. Have you looked at film? And I guess people would like to know is, when do you start on Lincoln? Do you start on Lincoln before we get to Saturday?
I started on Lincoln last night. How about that?
So you have to juggle between the two because you don't have time.
I like to, because I think we can intermittently practice some things during the week for both teams without really letting our group know that we're preparing as much for Saturday as we are for Friday. So, but Lincoln's got abilities too. I mean, I know Chicago beat them on Saturday, and they've had their ups and downs, but on paper their returning group is nice, and they've got a goaltender there, Thomas Vomaka, who we're very familiar with, being part of our property at one point. So
he's able to play.
He's been stepped in. I mean, I know he's had his oopses. Like, it's pretty hard in this league not to have an oops on a night for a goaltender, but he's been very solid for them and give them an opportunity every evening to win as well.
11 guys with USHL experience on this roster, and that's what I guess that's what you're going to find on a team that didn't make the postseason.
You're going to find that. I think you're going to find a little bit maybe of the selling time. Like you look at a Tri-City who,
they got a guy from Tri-City, they got a guy from
I mean, you start to be a seller at last year at the deadline. You start to acquire and populate players for the following season, which is huge. And Waterloo really no different. I mean, they put themselves in that same spot as well. Although they didn't sell, they just, to your point, happened to return some players.
It happened. Yeah.
And then, but it adds up. But at the same time, we're getting to the point now we speak about it enough that games played this year are starting to add up, and they need to add up in our favor here because of the experiences that they've had.
What is the style of Cody Chupp, the new head coach of the Lincoln Stars? And the sad thing about, I say that his style as a head coach is kind of strange, since I call games with him playing at Tri-City and Waterloo.
Chupper's a great guy. He's a first-year coach there that I think his biggest asset that he's got going is his guys enjoy his age and his passion for that age group. And they will freewheel. They will give up opportunities coming back their way. But at the same time, I think they've been turned into a pretty good transition team here with the returning D that they have.
The two Kriegers, I thought were solid last year.
Yeah.
Tara Vinen.
Tara Vinen last year was just an off year. He was dinged up. He's a talented
You just
player.
know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, have him another year after.
Yeah,
I know he had 8 points only last year, but.
Yeah. That was injury. That was not ability.
He's got to be captain of that power play, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then you've got the Kriegers, and you've got Amat, and pretty soon
Chicago.
You've got a 5-person decor that's returned and played in the league. So, Devlin McCabe has been a new player for them this year, but he's come out of the block and done a really nice job there as far as pointing. So,
he's got 6 points on the year. He's a Duluth guy. They have a nice product there, and
they do.
And then John Hull then came in as the general manager as well to help out the cause. Is that becoming a trend that maybe started with Sioux City? Maybe in Green Bay too. Wasn't there a lot of player personnel stuff in Green Bay when you were there?
Yeah, but we had separate, but it was more of a director of scouting situation. But now, for sure, Jay, I think all the way back to when he hired me as a GM, that was probably the first team that really separated, and it gives you a double resource. It gives you someone that's around your own team, but obviously outseeing others to acquire. And I think the teams that have done it this way have really maybe taken advantage of some teams that had some holes in their lineup or didn't play a player a particular way that you were able to add to your team, and that's what we're on the hunt for.
Well, I look at it in the combination between you, Jay, and Mark LaRose. I mean, that's kind of been in the connections here and there. It's kind of funny is that Rosie, the connection between you and Rosie and the University of Wisconsin, separate times, but he was a Badger up there too.
He was too. He came in plugged in a year there when they were short. I think John Hines had taken the job at the U.S. program late, so Rosie came in. It's a small tree. We all spend time. We all talk. We all learn from each other. We still
never tick off anyone because you you might be hiring them.
I'm telling you, in that tree, anyways, for sure.
Yeah, so interesting coming up this week. It's been so long. I think it's going to be a week from Friday when you're finally on the road again. I guess take advantage while you can here.
We do, and that's we talk about it as a group, and especially our older players are getting more and more vocal about what it is to be at home, the meaning of it. It's obviously helps practice. It helps that rhythm of the day, but at the same time, it's time to take advantage of some points at home and close, and not getting her done that way is getting old even to hear myself talk about. So I'm sure everyone else is pretty sick of it too.
Well, I think when I look at teams, it's like survive to Christmas type of thing for a younger team.
Especially the age, exactly.
Don't get too far behind.
Right, the age. We'll be fortunate here that hopefully the next couple of weekends, Sammy Walker is going to join our club, and
starting this weekend.
Tampa Bay pick that's up in Minnesota high school that is going to come down and play the next couple of weekends. I think that could give us a little shot in the arm. He's a pretty dynamic skating, puck possessing player that happened to be his last team was Lincoln, so hopefully he can do some good fortune against an old team.
How funny how that works.
It is
sometimes.
As McMiniman starts against us on Saturday, right? So
yeah. What's he play? Right wing, left wing, center?
He'll most likely play center. I mean, he's probably got the ability to play both. He does both effectively. So it's just going to be we want to give him. I personally want to give him spots to succeed. At the same time, not drown out of the adjustment to get here. So there's a little balance I think that's got to happen on that part, but. His abilities and his skating should put him on par, and I love that he's coming down, like he's driving down right now, be here tonight, and will practice with us the rest of the week, which is a big commitment by a young man in high school and by his family, which is it's nice to have.
Is he committed to college yet?
He is. He's committed to the University of Minnesota.
I said, good for him. He must be a very smart kid.
I knew you'd dive into that one.
I'm here for you. I try to convince all your players that way too. If you feel like decommitting and going to the Gophers, we could use your help.
You know what? I mean, you see a pretty good trend of what schools are attracting what players and
and what types.
What types of players right now? Wisco's got a great player pool going. I think Duluth has got a great player pool going. Minnesota's never been short on talent, that's for sure. So when you get these players, you take advantage of the situation, and it'll be good. I mean, here's even this weekend, like Tampa said, their development guy's coming in, and he wants to see where Sammy is and what's going to happen. And this is some determining time in a lot of people's careers.
Have you looked around? Do you need anything added? Do you need some experience for this crew?
You'd like to say you don't, but if it mattered and it made an impact to us, it'd be hard to deny it.
To help younger,
just to help players along, and pretty soon you get a young player that's playing with an old player. That bravery and some things that occur with that are big experience pieces. But
that looks like what you're doing a little bit too. Ferns with a first-year player in Babbage, Bond with Montero and stuff like that, because they have the skill, and I thought both looked good. It's just nice to have a crutch.
It is. The crutch is probably the best way, and it's an ear, it's a hand, it's everything that the player would need to succeed that way. And but you don't want to mortgage the future to try to get something done right now. But we're always out there. We're doing our part, whether it's watch the North American League or the USHL or other people's affiliates.
Luke Johnson going to be healthy pretty soon?
Johnson's close. It was an exciting day. He practiced today full go, which has been a bit since he's been in that mode. So hopefully he can muster through that and get some good health going. And because that calmness and poise back there of his stick and play would be a benefactor right now too.
Well, Coach, we'll see you at the rink.
Sounds like you're playing. Thank you.
The Musketeer Coaches Show, Friday, Saturday at home. Get your tickets. Come on out. Cheer on the Musketeers. The Chick-fil-A deal on Friday. And, of course, $2 beers and sodas on Saturday. So definitely come on out. It's going to do it. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio 620, Camas, Sioux City.